Hey, it's Mike Hambright back for another Flip Nerd VIP interview show. Today I have with me Ben Rayo, who's the president and founder of Community Buying Group, which is a membership program to allow real estate investors, associations, RIA clubs, and all sorts of groups of people to get purchasing power benefits for buying products and services that they tend to buy anyway. So before we get started, it's a great show. There's going to be a lot of information in here that's going to help you save money. Before we get started, let's take a moment to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Ben. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, great. Glad you're here. So you've got a really innovative business, which is nowhere close to a concept anymore. You have, I think you said you have over 30,000 members that are benefiting from your services one way or another. But talk a little bit about, give us an introduction of, who you are and how you got started. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what your company does and how you're adding value to folks.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Mike. I've been a real estate investor, landlord, flipper for over 10 years. So I've worked on hundreds of projects where I've been buying single-family houses and flipping them. Really have a passion and fell in love with fixing them up, sometimes too much to detriment, but love to go take something that was really wrecked, whether it was fire damage or water damage or something that was just neglected, bank-owned, go buy that, make it beautiful, and then put a family into it at retail or turn it into a rental property for a long-term cash flow.
Okay. And that's how you got started. And then somewhere along the line, you said there's got to be a better way for...
Yeah, so, there's a lot of things that happened. But, as I was doing that, I was starting to meet a lot of people. I was starting to network with different groups of people that were in the same industry. And there was a lot of trends that I saw there that were the same. And one of them was people would come to me and say, hey, Ben, you're doing this. Who do you have that's a roofer? Who do you have that's doing your gutters? How are you insuring your properties? How do I set up an LLC? And it felt like that there was just not a place to really get people connected because we all had the same issues all over the country.
Right.
We all love that local networking part of it, to be able to meet people that are right here in our backyard and that can help us, but that the national level had a lot of the same issues. So I wanted to try to create something where we could all exchange information, ideas, and who we were doing business with and who was good and who wasn't so good. And that was really how Community Buying Group got started.
Okay. And that was primarily just in your market, the Kansas City area initially, I assume, where you started off.
Well, the networking here locally, there were a couple of RIA groups and several landlord associations, and just more that typical networking here. But when we went Community Buying Group 3 years ago, we went nationwide. Okay. We went out all over the country and started to get the word out. And it took a while, just like any other startup. It was a grind. We were working out of a garage and one of my rental properties, and which is kind of cool. And now you look back at it, but it's that was fun, and we did that and kind of grew it up from the ground up, bootstrapped it, and here we are now, 3 years later, with over 30,000 members.
That's fantastic. And so, kind of a high level summary of what you do is why don't you go ahead and explain what it is that you do, the service that you provide for others.
So, at a really basic level, what we're doing is helping people that are touching properties that need to buy materials or want access, or we know that they need things to help their business do business better. So it could be something as simple as just needing the drywall and the materials for a project or paint. Or it could be something as like a portable alarm system that while your property sits empty and you've got tools or other things in it that you can set up there and it's portable and you pick it up after you finish that project and move on to the next project. So
Yeah.
there's really a gamut of different suppliers that we have, but they all come down to one thing, and it's to help a real estate investor or a landlord to save some money, to be able to do business better, get access to programs and products that they may not know about because they may not be spending $500,000 with a supplier like a Lowe's.
Right, right. And so what you do is you in turn go negotiate with those suppliers to get better pricing so that folks that are interested in being a member, whether it's through an association or some other way, not only can find out about products and services that they might need or might already be using, but can get better deals through you're kind of leveraging the purchasing power of your entire group to get those benefits. Is that right?
Yeah, we are. So, somebody that was doing 10 flips a year, can help to benefit from somebody that's doing 100 flips a year. And the person that's a newbie that's just getting into the business gets the benefit of all that. And we go to suppliers with our network and we go and cut contracts to where our members can get some kind of preferential pricing or program to help them to save that money. And then we deliver that program through associations. So it's very rare that we sell very many individual memberships. It's more about how do we help other people. We talk about it in the office of we're here to help other people. We don't have anything to sell. We don't have a product. What we have is that we can help these clubs and associations to market membership benefits better and more effectively, and that we can brand all that for them, as well as touching their members after they register with a customer service call to make sure they understand how to take advantage of it and know that that's free because it's part of that association membership. That these associations are run by volunteers, or they're run by somebody that's a for-profit and that they own it, and they're overrun.
Right.
It's very unlikely that they've called their members anytime in the last year and gone through and called them all. So, we're able to touch them and brand that touch to that association and really help provide that service. So we charge an association a one-time annual membership fee. And then we'll set up all the rest of the things we just talked about for their members to be able to take advantage of that program and all the mechanism in place to track it and everything else.
Okay. And so when folks, let's just say that you're a member of a specific RIA club that is partnered with you, you create kind of a custom skinned store for that RIA club so that it's branded like the RIA club. And the members, anything that they buy or sell, does it always have to go through that site, or do they have like a membership type card where they can use it otherwise? Or
so they don't buy anything from our site.
Right.
They're still going to shop at the suppliers the same way they always do.
Okay.
That's the beauty of the program is hey, there's no scam. There's nothing here.
Right.
You're not buying something from us. You're going to go to the store and shop the same way that you do today to go purchase your products. You're going to go to either online or to a box store to go purchase what you need to purchase. And you're going to have all the same convenience of having all the locations and do it however you want to do it at the pace that you want to do it. We've just got access, and we're helping people understand there's other programs that are now available to them to both save money and, for example, a lot of people don't realize that Sherwin-Williams will deliver paint for free.
Right.
So you can, if you go set up a credit account with Sherwin-Williams, you can call them or put a credit card on file. You'll call them; they can deliver paint to your job site. You don't have to go pick it up. Same thing with Lowe's as far as going to the pro services desks. There's some real benefits there when you're purchasing more than $2,500 to be able to get, additional discounts that far outweigh what you would normally get just on a day-to-day basis. So, those kinds of things that maybe they're not getting a necessary discount, but they're getting an added benefit save time. If you can get materials delivered for free or for $20 or $25. You can't pay somebody to go pull an order and deliver it for that amount.
Absolutely, yeah.
Your workers keep working. You have the stuff delivered there, and and there's not, if we could just all plan a little bit better, which a lot of people in the real estate investment business aren't necessarily the best planners for when it comes to a project, and you forget.
Are you talking about me?
I'm not talking about you, but or maybe it's the contractor that they're using as far as it's like it makes me want to cut my wrist. How many times I've heard people that I've used say, yeah, they're at their third trip to go to Lowe's to go get stuff for a project. Yeah. And it's like, why didn't you get it one time in the morning. Well, I didn't know we were going to need it. Well, then you didn't plan. So,
Right,
you know,
right.
if we could break that code, we'd say help
Well, yeah,
everybody.
good luck with that. But and so, how does it work? So through these different vendors, the ultimate member, I guess, or individual investor has for a lot of the different vendors, they have some sort of uh, account number or kind of a customer code of some sort that allows them to
They
get
do,
access
they
to these
do, and
benefits.
it just kind of depends. You know, we've grown to now up to 25 suppliers, so it really just kind of it depends. It could be an affiliate landing page. It could be a code that they need to use.
Okay.
It could be a credit account. It could be just a cash account where they walk in and pay for it with their own credit card, however they want to do it. But through that registration process, we're making sure that those people are connected and those suppliers know that our members are our members and that they deserve that additional discount.
Okay. Okay. Well, one of the things on this show is I like to learn and share, folks like you that could benefit other investors for sure. And we obviously, I think that real estate investor clubs are kind of the backbone of the real estate investor community across the country. And so I'm sure we'll probably find some ways to get some folks that run RIA clubs or are heavily involved to learn more about you. One of the other things I like to learn more about is just the entrepreneur side of you and your business and how you got things started and how you fought through, getting out of a garage in one of your rental properties to build this thing up. So talk a little bit more about, how you made that leap from being a corporate guy, which a lot of folks know my story too. I was a corporate guy and went into real estate investing, which there's a lot of us now, but we call them corporate refugees. So talk a little bit about how you made that leap from being a corporate guy to an entrepreneur and a real estate investor.
Yeah,
You
Mike.
probably were real estate investing while you were a corporate guy, I assume, right? You're buying some
Yeah,
rentals and things.
yeah, a lot of people think that I was a corporate guy, and I wasn't. I wouldn't say I
Okay.
really was a corporate guy.
Yeah.
I helped to build an IBM business partnership, so they have a
Okay.
channel where they have business partners, and so we did that for a long time. You know, it started when we started that business. We were still wearing suits every day, and by the
Yeah.
time it was over, the business casual would come around, and it was much more less structured and less of a concern, to be wearing a suit and tie every day to go out to make, sales calls and calling on big customers. But
Yeah.
so I always had a little bit of an entrepreneur, even all the way back to as a kid, whether it was selling lemonade or doing
Yep.
yard work or doing those kinds of things. Some of that you just have.
Yep.
Either you enjoy doing stuff and building and working, but as I moved from having the properties and building that portfolio of rental properties, and I made a lot of mistakes, and everybody's going to. And I would just recommend to people, hey, get out and network with as many people as you can, whether it's a local association, whether it's something that's a business entrepreneurial group, anything you can do to get out and rub shoulders. There's all kinds of there's pitch fests where people are out pitching, for their business to go raise money.
Right.
So I did many of those to go raise private equity for the company, a community buying group, so I could go add more people. And the more you get out and do that stuff, and you see ideas, and you meet people, and people hear your story, and you refine it, it's just all of those things will help. And it doesn't matter whether you're in real estate or whether you're doing something else.
Yeah.
Those are things. It's how you can get experience faster without having to go through the expense of getting it yourself.
Right.
To where,
Right.
I'll give you a simple idea is, man, I wish I hadn't have bought so many single family properties. I wish I'd bought duplexes. I wish I'd bought multifamily.
Okay.
Just you start to get to having so many properties that they're, why not have one roof instead of, why not have one roof over 8 units instead of 8 roofs?
Right. Right.
Other things that are simple is, master keying your properties. Do them all.
Right.
I started about my 10th properties when I kind of figured it out that I need to start master keying them. But a lot of people get going and they just don't think through some of these things that are so simple and easy
Right.
that can make your life long term
Yep.
so much easier. So you're going to learn that kind of stuff when you're out networking with people.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when you've been in business for about 3 years now, or a little over 3 years.
Yeah, for Community Buying Group, a little over 3 years. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And your journey is just to kind of network with RIA clubs and associations and continue to build up the number of vendors that you work with that give discounts to real estate investors and clubs and kind of basically improve your value proposition as you go along and try to network with more and more folks to kind of take advantage of that proposition, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. The more people that we can help, our phone is starting to ring a lot more now than it, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We're getting people calling in that said, somebody told me about your program.
Yeah.
That's exciting that, you get somebody that finds you organically through, Google or somewhere, that stuff's exciting. So yeah, we're going to continue to add, suppliers. And I hope that by the end of the year, we've added about another 14 or so quality suppliers that can help people. There's no magic number, but a couple a month. And, we just, there's some stuff that we have, and we're in conversations and have 4 or 5 things going now for contracts that we hope will close in the next 30 days. And so that we continue to do that. Our biggest thing is that we're living and breathing customer service. Somebody calls, we're going to call them back. We're going to answer our calls. Our entire mission is how do we make your business better? So as long as you keep helping everybody else, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So for RIA Club, for real estate investing clubs, there could be other associations that partner with you. You provide a customer service support level for their members. So if their members have problems buying something through a site or questions, they contact you and you guys help service them?
We do.
Okay.
And
wow, that's great.
And we brand all of that to the association's name. So, anytime we're talking to somebody, we're going to make sure they understand, hey, you're getting this because you're a member of ABC Landlord Association or, ABC RIA, that they really understand there's another value that they're getting from that RIA outside of the typical networking and education and those type of things. Right.
And the types of vendors that you bring in, how do you cultivate those? Are you limited from, again, I'm interested in the business side of it. Are you limited by national vendors, or do you primarily focus on national vendors so that they can serve folks across the country? Or
yeah, we've been focusing heavily on national vendors just because we're in 40 states now.
Yeah.
And so it's just, we need people that have the coverage, and not everybody's going to have coverage. You can't do anything about that.
Right.
But the real passion and the original idea behind the community buying group was building these communities, similar to Craigslist, to where people could join a community as they join community buying group to have a business listing. Many people in this business have other businesses. They're out there, whether they're doing something like I'm a contractor or I've got a painting company on the side because I'm painting all my units, or somebody writing insurance or an attorney. So we've created a community and a business listing system where people can go in and add those, and they can add themselves to as many communities as they want. And then there's a rating and review system that lays over top of that to where you can rate and review other members. And the whole thought was, it goes back to what I talked about earlier, of people would call me and say, hey, do you know somebody that can do this? Do you know somebody that can do that? And is there a way that we could create a self-service type of environment that was really from a trusted network, which would be a local group of people that were property managers, landlords, and real estate investors?
Right.
Because, I have the people I trust. And I give those names out to everybody that asks me, because I appreciate that they're good and they do business, and those guys remember it.
Right.
If somebody gets to go do 5 more roofs this year because of referrals from me, you think they're going to come fix one of my properties as quickly as possible when I call them? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What comes around goes around, for sure.
That's right. That's right.
So tell me a little bit about, explain that a little bit more. So you have, inside a community buying group, you have some functionality where folks can find individual vendors, and is that inside a community buying group? Or
It is. So once somebody registers, you have the ability to create either a public or a private business profile. So you can go out and go do that, and you can also place it in any community that you'd like. So just like when you go to Craigslist, you pick a state and then you pick a city.
Yep.
Same methodology. When you go to community buying group, you create a profile. You can say, I would like to place it in, pick a state. If you're in Texas, and the list might be that I'm doing business in Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio.
Okay.
So your profile would show up in those 3 communities.
Okay.
And then anybody else that was a member of those communities could see your profile, and you could see theirs.
Okay.
And so then there's 30, 40 different categories that you can say, these are my areas of expertise. So I'm a real estate investor. I'm a landlord. I've got a painting business, and I've got a insurance. And then those would show up on any of those different categories. So people could search by community or city, and then people could also search by category for what they're looking for.
Okay. Okay. And is there a charge for vendors to use that?
There's not.
Okay.
There's not at all. That's just a membership benefit. And so we've looked at some ideas that we've got on a whiteboard as far as doing some other things, whether it be regionally or more localized. But if you charge somebody to have a listing, I don't know. That's really what we're struggling with. If anybody can be in there that just pays, which certainly they could today.
Yeah.
It really is going to need to be vetted by the membership themselves to say, oh yeah, I've done business with Mike before. He's done 15 roofs for me in the last 2 years of my properties. I would certainly give him a 4-star rating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Mike installed windows. He did a horrible job and they're leaking, and I keep calling Mike and it says the number's no longer available and I can't find him. And so then I want to at least let people know that to say, hey, maybe he's not going to follow through as much as he should.
Right. Right. Yeah. And for everybody's information, do not ever call me to do anything related to putting in windows or anything else.
If you want leaky windows, call Mike.
Yeah, that's no. Awesome. So where do you think where do you grow your business from here? You're just trying to again add more associations, and I guess that's probably some of the challenges. There's so many different clubs and organizations, and maybe just touching them all for them to kind of understand the value that's there. It sounds like it's a great benefit that they could share with their members.
It is, and that's been some of the challenge as far as people say, what's the catch? Too good to be true. They don't understand what our business model is. They think, but once people start to get it and they understand it, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, when somebody's on with us for a year or so, then it becomes, these guys are great. They've done, followed through on every single thing that they said that they would.
Yeah.
It's getting fun now because we do offer the real estate investment associations and the landlords a little bit of a revenue share. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so if your members spend and there's certain suppliers that we track and some that just doesn't make any sense because they're just too small. But, some of those we track, there's an opportunity for a real estate investment association or landlord association to see this as a revenue stream. Right. If they join Community Buying Group annually, then, they may be able to get a revenue stream back in based on their members spending and provide this great value add to their members for the benefits. So, that's exciting. I just had to do some traveling and stopped in to see a couple of associations, able to deliver a check, hey, here's a check for $1,200. We appreciate it. It was great. It's great to have you. And they're just like, this is awesome. This is great. You said this is the way it was going to go. And here we are, a year later, and this is the way it went.
Yep. Awesome. Well, so if folks want to learn more, I guess if you have, like you said, you don't take on a lot of individual straight members, so most folks are joining through an association. But do you have a directory for individuals to find out what associations you work with?
We don't. What I would encourage them is a couple different things. Mm-hmm. You could go to communitybuyinggroup.com.
Okay.
So if you go out to our website, there's a couple of different tabs there. You can go out and put an inquiry in there. If you know about an association, I would encourage anybody that comes to our website not to join as an individual and to, call us or send us an email saying, hey, there's an association here in my town. And we'll follow up back with them to see if they're a member and let them know. If they're not, we could bring that association on and we'll give that person a $50 gift card for the referral if they join, and their membership's going to be free because they're already a member of that association. So, it's all been very, very organic, very grassroots.
Yeah.
That's from a perspective of somebody joining, but I would certainly encourage them, don't join as an individual, get your association to join so your membership is free. If you're not part of an association, we certainly can tell you about associations that we have in your area. And, it certainly makes a lot of sense if somebody's not, there's a lot of people out there. There's millions of people out there that aren't in associations. Right. That, could join, and it helps them to save a ton of dough.
Yep. Awesome. And so for associations, clubs, things like that are interested in learning more, they would just contact you through communitybuyinggroup.com.
They can. Yep. Absolutely. And then click on the associations tab, and there's a place there that you can click and just send us a message and say, hey, I'm interested. We'll ask, just your contact information, and we'll follow back up with you. Or you could always just call our phone number, and our contact information and phone number are right there on our website.
Okay.
And we're here Monday through Friday, usually from about 7:30 until 6 o'clock at night, and you're very likely to get through to somebody. And if you don't, you're very likely to get a phone call back within typically an hour.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we'll add links to everything below the site here, and I think I always love the stories of somebody that was a real estate investor themselves, or really any business. I mean, even though I'm in real estate, I usually consider myself an entrepreneur, and real estate happens to be what I do. But don't get me wrong, I love real estate. But for folks like you that saw something and said, "There's got to be a better way," and let me find a way to do something that adds value to lots of folks, doesn't cost anything. I don't have to, there's no winners and losers. There's nothing but winners involved. And so I think you got a great program here, and definitely folks should check out your website to learn more.
Yeah, Mike, I couldn't thank you more for inviting me to be on the show. I wish you the best of luck. And,
Awesome.
We certainly would love to help get you connected to some other people that would be, guests for your show if you need it, since we know a lot of people.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us on the show. And again, we'll have links below for anybody that wants to find out more and take advantage of some of these great purchasing power opportunities. So thanks, Ben, for being on.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Take care. Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.